All right, let's stay with that story now. Jako Volschenk, Associate Professor in Strategy and Sustainability at Stellenbosch University, or Stellenbosch Business School, rather, joins us now. Thank you so much, Prof, for your time. So citizens across the globe in that clip that we've just listened to have been called on to unite around renewable energy in order to triple clean electricity production by 2030. I want to stay with that point. Let's start by talking then about South Africa's unique role, when we speak about renewable energy, options like solar and wind, etc., on this Earth Day.
Thanks, Renati, and thanks for having me. Well, I think solar and wind can play a major role in South Africa. I think we've got some of the, I don't think, I know, we've got some of the best solar resources in the world. Together with Namibia, I think we kind of at the top of the hit list in those. And also around the coast of South Africa, we've got some of the best resources in terms of wind. If you think of Koga, for instance, I think one of the capacity factors there, that's how many days of the year the wind blows, it's some of the highest in the world. So I think we've got immense capacity in South Africa, and with renewable energy being cheaper than coal energy, and then I'm talking about new capacity. So if we want to build a new coal plant, which we shouldn't be doing anyway, but renewable energy is already much cheaper than those options. So there's vast opportunity for South Africa to exploit those resources that we have. That will bring about job creation, but not only that, we've known that when we had blackouts, what impact that has on the economy. So having more renewable energy, having less reliance on things like coal, etc., could give us more energy security. And of course, we need more renewable energy then to achieve that. But it can play a major role if we can do that, and something that can be very, very positive for us to have on Earth Day, to have something that can solve climate change, that can address some of the other environmental issues that are associated with coal, and at the same time also have social needs met, like job creation, economic growth, etc.
And Prof, of course, you've written an article recently that raises some very key points about radical optimism as a key survival strategy. And in fact, you go on to list that despite the enormity of the challenges, key victories around the globe prove the collective action can and does work. Just speak to us a little bit about that in terms of what you mean by perhaps, turning those challenges into opportunities.
Well, certainly. I think firstly, let's start with radical optimism. That, what we've seen from various studies that we've done is that people respond to hope. And by spending Earth Day, wallowing in pain and guilt about the things that are going wrong in the world, actually sends the wrong message. And while it may create headlines, hope comes from good news. And if we want people to act, we need to create these stories. So what we did in this press release that you referred to is to celebrate some of the small wins. Things like, that deforestation in the Amazon has been halved in 2023. We still have deforestation, and that's part of this optimism view, is let's not disregard the facts, but let's look at what are the things that are going wrong. And certainly halving deforestation. There are more than 130 countries in the world that have said they will conserve more than 30% of the land in those countries, which means there's a substantial move towards conservation, biodiversity. In South Africa, we've got vast biodiversity resources, and we attract so many tourists to Cape Town, to the Kruger Park, to Mfolozi, all these different parks that we have in South Africa, and we should celebrate nature. We should celebrate what we have in terms of biodiversity. And I think it's really the message is that what we try to say is that with this Earth Day, let's celebrate the positive things that are happening. Let's celebrate the progress that we've made, and that enables us to move forward and have people, be galvanized by this idea and move forward.
And how do we then begin to, unearth those stories firstly and, pass on that narrative, especially when you look at, rural communities and the role they play in shaping this hopeful climate story? I mean, there are plenty there. But at the same time, keeping those that need to be kept, responsible, accountable.
I think certainly, that's a great question. I think firstly, on the question of communities, We know, for instance, that renewable energy is distributed jobs. When you talk about the coal fields and coal power, it's really concentrated, and people grow ill because of the fumes, etc. in those areas. With renewable energy, it's much more distributed. How we distribute these good stories, well, I think part of that is to the media, but I think also as news creators, we are sometimes guilty. Certainly myself, as a semi-academic environmentalist, tend to tell students how bad things are, and sometimes you can see from the reaction people kind of shy away from that. By focusing on the positive stories, so we as news creators must spend more or make more effort to create these stories, but also share this and celebrate the small wins. In terms of responsibility, I certainly believe you're right. If I often speak about the analogy of a cow in a ditch. If you want to move the cow, you need someone at the head of the cow to pull, and you need someone to push from the back. So policy can push the cow, but we need also, as consumers, to ask companies to be more responsible, so that we become the pull, whereas the government can push from the back. So we need both of those, but I think certainly positive stories can make consumers also ask for the right things, because we know that this is good for us and for the planet.
Absolutely, Prof. Thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Jako Volschenk, the Associate Professor in Strategy and Sustainability at Stellenbosch Business School, as we mark Earth Day today.